The great expanse of space.
Yeah, we've seen that yesterday. Production fun project. Okay. There was one more time period. Sorry, I'm doing something else on the side right now. Sorry, I'm almost done. Okay. So we have 5 locations here. Yeah. Starts with Mongolia, I guess.
Because of its shape, the small, flesh-eating Ornithomimus and its relatives were called ostrich dinosaurs. The largest of this group, as fast as an ostrich, was Gallimimus. In pursuit of prey, it could achieve speeds in excess of 50 miles per hour.
Okay, so it was a runner. Gallimimus. Oh, it's, yeah, okay, I see, they appear in Jurassic Park, those ones, I remember.
The Gallimimus group of dinosaurs had bodies resembling those of living ostriches. It had a slender neck, small head, and highly developed hind legs. Its body was well adapted to headlong flight across open grasslands. Like today's ostriches, the Gallimimus had extremely large eyes, capable of detecting both prey and predator at great distances. The development of similar physical responses to similar environments is known as convergent evolution. Ostriches today run mainly to flee their enemies. But their predecessors, the ornithomimosaurs, may have used their great leg strength and speed to hunt down birds and small dinosaurs. But the teeth of Gallimimus degenerated completely into a bird-like beak. What this ancient ostrich and its relatives actually ate then may never be known.
Yep, who knows? Okay. Enocheros. Dinosaur is known from a single huge 3-digit forelimb, almost 8 feet long. Oops, wrong button. Okay, we don't know anything about this one apparently. It's scimitar-like claw attached, or fragments of Perizonitosaurus, another dinosaur. A huge forelimb have been found. A general picture of its size and shape is slowly taking form. The Dinosaurus is still largely shrouded in mystery. The arm bone is much more fragile than that of Therizinosaurus, maybe that of a large Ornithomimosaur. The claw is not very sharp, may well have been used for protection as much as an offensive weapon. Although some researchers believe that Dinosaurus may have been non-predatory, there's little doubt that it was nonetheless a bipedal dinosaur. Hi Bob! Of super-sized proportions. Soul of Pus. Or Pus, I don't know. This species should go extinct already. Don't worry, it's finished soon. Soulopus had a large spike growing out of its forehead. Externally, it appears to be related to the later Parasaurolophus, except that the spike was not hollow. Also differed considerably in structure from the tubular crest common to the Parasaurolophus. Saurolophus could also blow air into his facial skin, thereby inflating certain sacs like a balloon. These skin sacs may have been differently colored too, allowing individuals of one variety to distinguish among those of another.
Tarbosaurus resembles Tyrannosaurus, but is somewhat smaller.
Trodon. Okay, that's a simpler name I've seen so far. Trodon. Name Trodon was first applied to some fossilized teeth with jagged edges found in Montana in 1856. They were later thought to be identical to those of Pachycephalosaur named Stegosaurus. In the 1980s, to confuse the issue even more, the name of Trodon was also assigned to a small flesh-eating ornithopod resembling Epsilophodon. Meanwhile, some researchers continue to refer to the original specimen as the true Trodon, which has now been determined to have been a small carnivore with huge claws on the second digit of the hind limbs. Many plant and flesh eaters share similar tooth structure. However, in the case of the Trodon only points up. Difficulty of trying to name a new dinosaur genus on the basis of a few fossil fragments.
Tarkia was the largest and longest surviving of the Asian ankylosaurs.
Homalocephaly is a herbivore belonging to the suborder Pachycephalosauria, or dome-headed reptiles. The skull is unusually flat and thick at the top. They may have established dominance by butting one another head to head.
Yeah. Homalocephal.
The ancestor of thick-skulled dinosaurs called Pachycephalosaurus is thought to be a small plant eater, Yaverlandia, that lived in Europe during the Lower Cretaceous period.
I think we've seen the Yaverlandia yesterday.
And Heterodontosaurus in physical appearance. From Yaverlandia evolved two large groups of Pachycephalosaurs. One was a group of flat-headed dinosaurs, like the Homalocephali and Goyacephali. Another group was comprised of Pachycephalosaurus, Stegosaurus, and the other dome-headed dinosaurs that lived in North America. The difference has led some scientists to argue that Homalocephali, presently classified as a Pachycephalosaur, should be designated as a separate family. To make matters more complicated, others believe that the Pachycephalosaur itself should be separated from the suborder Ornithopoda and promoted to its own new suborder.
That's a mess. Dinosaur archaeology, it's a mess. Opisto... oh my god. Opisto Coeli Cod... Just stop naming things, scientists, please. Opistocoelicodia, one of the last of the sauropods, contains several curiosities within its unique skeletal structure. One thing, the tail bones fit together in a ball and socket fashion, not found in any other dinosaur. Each joint had a hemispheric dome or protrusion on one side, and an opposite depression on the other. The tail was ordinarily carried in a horizontal position, apparently unattached to the hind legs, but anchored instead at the ilium or hip bone. This strange sauropod is now classified as a Camarasaurid, but may yet have its own family name because of its distinctiveness. I won't do it like yesterday. I won't check Wikipedia to see if we've made progress researching those dinosaurs. I just want to be done with this quote-unquote game.
Ornithoides and its relatives were highly developed meat eaters that appeared shortly before the end of the age of dinosaurs. It had a brain larger than any of the primitive mammals alive at the time. It also had large eyes and may have been able to see well at night, when mammals were most active. It must have been a great threat for our earliest ancestors.
Oh, forgot to press A again. Well, one. Okay. Ornithoids. Toides? Oh no.
During the Mesozoic era, the land-dwelling dinosaurs dominated all biological activity, much like mammals do today. And the most advanced of the dinosaurs, comparable to the higher primates among the mammals, was Ornithoides. At least, that is the name given to the fossil specimen found in Mongolia. Its Canadian counterpart is called Stenonychosaurus, but the two seem to be the same type of dinosaur. Both had a much higher ratio of brain to body weight than ordinary dinosaurs. 6 times that of today's crocodile, for example, and approximately the same as the ostrich. Ornithoides had large frontal eyes and flexible grasping fingers. 2 major factors assumed to contribute to overall brain and nervous system development. Had the Ornithoides not disappeared, but continued to evolve, some sort of human-like dinosaur, a dinosauroid, might possibly have come into being.
Oh no. Human-like dinosaurs. Signosaurus. First reported in 1979, the Signosaurus remains a major mystery of classification. With its long neck and tail, the body resembles that of a prosauropod. Probably had a large claw on its forelimbs and could walk on either 2 or 4 legs. The jaw was sharpened like a toothless beak, but nonetheless had the prosauropodine teeth. An even more distinctive feature was a pubis that curved sharply toward the rear and ran parallel to the ischium. In other words, Signosaurus had a pelvis that can be classified as either Saurischian or Ornithischian. Some researchers now suspect that Signosaurus have been a group of animals that managed to preserve the transitional shape in evolution from Prosaurischia to Ornithischia. If this proves to be the case, it will make a powerful argument for dinosaur monophyly. The hypothesis that all dinosaurs evolved from a single family. Yep.
Velociraptor was an agile carnivore like Deinonychus that lived in Mongolia.
We are finally seeing the Velociraptor.
And Protoceratops lost in combat.
I've killed so many of them in Dino Crisis.
In the Great Gobi Desert. The two probably fought in a marshy swamp where they sank and died.
Velociraptor.
During the last half of the Cretaceous period, the western half of the American continent was linked by Central Asia. It was this common area that produced both the greatest number and variety of dinosaurs in the history of evolution. The fossil remains of similar dinosaurs are now widely distributed on both sides of the Pacific Ocean. The Mongolian counterpart to the Deinonychus of North America, for example, is known as the Velociraptor. The latter had a sharp claw growing out of its second digit and could probably slash at its prey or enemies even as it ran. Velociraptor's skull is somewhat flatter and longer, and has a shorter snout than that of its North American counterpart. The now famous battling fossils recovered from the Gobi Desert were the first conclusive proof that Velociraptor attacked contemporary herbivores.
Interesting.
Therizinosaurus is the most mysterious of all dinosaurs. The only fossil find to date is that of a single arm. To everyone's surprise, it was more than 8 feet in length, with a 2-foot-long claw at the end. If it had a body in proportion to its arm, it could be the largest carnivorous dinosaur the world has ever known.
Imagine facing this beast. Therizinosaurus.
The carnivore's most terrible weapon has always been its powerful jaws and slashing teeth. The forelimbs of most flesh-eating dinosaurs were small affairs, almost as if they were a decorative afterthought rather than an effective tool. This Therizinosaurus, however, was an exception. Its front limbs were as sturdily constructed as those of the small sauropods, and carried claws up to 3 feet long. An estimate of adult body size, based on the one arm that has been found, puts it anywhere between 40 and 65 feet long. Unfortunately, little more than an arm has ever been identified, which provides few clues as to what the living animal looked like. The other fossil fragments suggest something resembling the Segnosaurus, a small carnivore, even though Segnosaurs were known to be fairly slender. One theory favored by some scientists says that Therizinosaurus used its powerful forelimbs to rake open anthills. But it is also hard to imagine how such a large creature could have survived on ants alone.
Yeah, weird.
The name Oviraptor means egg stealer. It got its name when its remains were first found atop the nest and eggs of a Protoceratops. Oviraptor probably visited the nest while the parents were away, hoping to eat the insides of the unprotected eggs by biting or cracking them.
And yes, that's all we have. Oh, that's a lot. In 30 minutes almost. Protoceratops.
Protoceratops occupied Mongolia in large herds during the course of the Upper Cretaceous period, much like buffaloes on the American prairie. Some actually migrated into North America, not yet separated by water, where they blossomed into various ceratopians. In fact, an exactly similar horned dinosaur, named Montanoceratops, has been found in what is now Montana. Earlier protoceratopid fossils also had small horns and may be closely related. But Protoceratops per se eventually developed a flattened tail, a feature not found among other ceratopians. Other similarities, however, are enough to make most scientists think that Protoceratops and their North American ceratopian cousins once shared a common ancestor.
Okay, what about this one? Oh, Tyrannosaurus.
Tyrannosaurus's body was finely honed for assault, with a gigantic gaping mouth and powerful hind legs. Its skull, the most robust of all carnivores, was quite capable of absorbing the sort of shocks expected in a life and death struggle. Both eyes were angled straight forward, the better to calculate the distance to its prey. But such adaptations were necessary, considering that Tyrannosaurus fed on a host of well-armed carnivores, protected by various horns, spikes, and plates. Ironically, however, Tyrannosaurus's forearms were thinner than a human's, and had only 2 digits, quite useless for capturing prey. There are varying views as to how these puny forearms were employed. Were they used to rise up from a prostrate position, to clean the carnivore's great teeth, or to hold on to the female's back while mating?
Yes, it's quite funny actually. All arms like that.
Iguanodontids of the Lower Cretaceous period were replaced by hadrosaurs as the leading bipedal herbivore during the Upper Cretaceous period. This group has been found as far north as Alaska and the Arctic Circle. They may have survived harsh winters by eating the roots of water plants. They must also have seen the beautiful aurora borealis, the northern lights.
Hadrosaurus.
Hadrosaurs and the family to which they belong are commonly called duck-billed dinosaurs. As the name suggests, the tip of the jaw was flattened like a duck's bill. It was used to snip off coniferous leaves and low-growing plants, then grind them up with its many molars. Hadrosaurs could also inflate a sac of skin above their beaks. They could amplify their voice with this sac like a bullfrog, and probably call back and forth among themselves. These sacs may have been brilliantly colored, too, useful for distinguishing between species or as a mating mechanism.
Okay, that's all. Not a lot here.
This is a Maiasaura. The name means good mother reptile. Maiasaura formed groups that built nests on islands and lakes or on peninsulas jutting into the sea. For up to 2 years after birth, they cared for their young. The mother must have been very diligent in finding food for her babies. The discovery of the first Maiasaura nest proved conclusively that dinosaurs looked after their young.
Maiasaura.
In 1978, a large number of Maiasaura fossils were found in Montana, ranging from the very young to full-grown adults. Research reveals that, while only 8 to 12 inches long at birth, Maiasaura grew to lengths of 20 to 23 feet in a surprisingly short 7 years. Such rapid growth rates can be accounted for by comparing them to the mass consumption of food mammals need to maintain a high metabolism. No doubt for similar reasons, Maiasaura evolved the heart with 2 auricles and 2 ventricles, capable of pumping a large volume of blood and oxygen to all parts of the body. Prior to adulthood at least, Maiasaura is now presumed to have been warm-blooded. As their bodies grew and were able to store heat more easily, metabolism needs dropped off dramatically, and growth rates probably decreased accordingly.
Okay. We can't inspect the eggs. It's too bad. So I need to... Oh, I think we've already seen this guy. Yeah, I've already seen this guy. It was the human-like dinosaur. Scaleosaurus. The rest of the ornithopoda to appear in the Cretaceous period was Scaleosaurus. Its 2 rows of knobby protrusions along the back. Its jaw tipped with teeth at the end was similar to that of plant-eating Epsilophodon. Whatever.
Nodosaurus was an armored dinosaur with bony knobs and plates covering its back. When attacked by a carnivore, it hid its limbs under the spikes on either side of its body and gripped the ground. In this position, few carnivores could ever hope to turn the nodosaur over.
Hey, Wandering Ranger. Nodosaurus.
giant armadillo of the dinosaur world. In a curled position, with its back covered by small bony plates and knobs, the Nodosaur presented a formidable defense against the jaws of even the strongest carnivores. Nor was the Nodosaur limited to a defensive posture. Some dinosaurs of this family had large, sharp spikes protruding like spears from their forelimbs. Aimed at the soft underbelly of their attacker, they might have discouraged many a predator.
As if the kid doesn't know what an armadillo is. Well, too bad for the kid. Hidden treasure, yeah, indeed. We are learning about dinosaurs. Styracosaurus. Many genuses in the ceratopid family develop jagged epoccipital bones on the edge of the frill. Styracosaurus was unique in that it had highly developed epoccipital bones with 3 pairs of spikes on both sides and one straight horn on the snout. That looks like a crown, actually. That's beautiful. Probably the best looking dinosaur I've seen so far. I want that dinosaur as a pet. No, I don't. Or you need a big garden, and be careful about the horns. No, I didn't see this one. Ornithomimus. Ornithomimus is a typical ornithomimid or representative of the so-called ostrich dinosaur. A new infra-order was called for to properly classify those animals that evolved as faster and faster runners. Their toothless skulls, extremely lightweight, with large eye sockets. The beak was soft, but could probably handle a wide variety of foods. Forelimbs were frail, it was the hind limbs that mattered. For brief sprints, Ornithomimus would probably achieve speeds in excess of 30 to 55 miles per hour. So, probably 60 kilometers per hour, 55. A young kid couldn't read these complicated words. Well, adult like me can't also. And I think the worst are some names, like some dinosaur names are insane.
The most well-known, if not deadliest of the carnivores was Tyrannosaurus, the tyrant lizard. With its great jaws and jagged teeth, Tyrannosaurus could attack almost any prey without fear. The smaller plant eaters were virtually defenseless against the assault of the 5-ton Tyrannosaurus.
We've already seen a Tyrannosaurus. I will skip the details.
Ankylosaurs had the most powerful defensive system known. Its entire body was protected by bony plates and spikes. Some even had a bony covering over their eyelids.
I think we've seen this one yesterday.
At the tip of its tail, Ankylosaur also had a heavy club with which it could smash at the feet of its attackers.
Yeah, that repeats also in this game. I'm pretty sure we've seen this one yesterday. Oh wait, no, okay. It's a new one. Ankylosaurus.
The order of armored dinosaurs is divided into nodosaurids and ankylosaurs.
Main enemies fought to fight with whales,
While the
ankylos,
nodosaurus
and
of the Middle Jurassic
triceratops.
may have been mainly passive in terms of both offense and defense, Ankylosaurus transformed its entire tail into an active, lethal weapon.
I know nothing about dinosaurs, so let's say yeah, probably, maybe, I don't know.
What's more, the tail muscles were extremely strong and flexible, the better to wield such a weapon.
Never was a fan of dinosaurs, actually.
This tail might have turned the Tyrannosaurus into prey for its own kind.
Like even like back in the day when it was a dinosaur craze with kids. Like even Jurassic Park, I like Jurassic Park, but like I just like it. It's not like, oh my god, it's best film ever.
Hadrosaurus and other dinosaurs of this type had an unusual bony protrusion on the skull. Parasaurolophus was another hadrosaur. The males had a large crest more than 3 feet long.
Oh, that's cute.
Various opinions are given as to how the crest was used. One recent theory says that it may have allowed the male to amplify his mating call.
The Bill Dino. Parasaurolophus. Okay. Yeah, you have data. Like its size, classification. I stopped looking at that.
The crest of the hadrosaur Parasaurolophus was initially thought to be a sort of snorkel, used for diving. Parasaurolophus was assumed to be a dinosaur that lived along the water's edge, and was capable of breathing while hiding from predators. But this view of snorkeling hadrosaurs has largely been pushed aside by growing evidence that they lived chiefly on land. In fact, the top of the crest was closed, and so could not be used for respiration. Nostrils near the animal's beak lead to the interior of the crest and then into the lungs. The most recent theory sees a strong physical resemblance between the crest and the French horn and trombone. And like humans, Parasaurolophus may have used its own wind horn to communicate with others of its kind.
There's plenty more. Alamosaurus. Alamosaurus is the only North American sauropoda known to have been alive during the Upper Cretaceous period. May have migrated northward from South America, occupying an environmental niche, at the time totally bereft of fellow saurischians. Okay, not a lot of info. Like some dinosaurs you have almost no info. Don't know why they've included them. Centrosaurus. Centrosaurus was a variety of sauropid characterized by a single horn at the tip of its snout and a pair of protrusions that curved downward from the edge of its frill. The first fragments of this animal found were named monoclonius, meaning one-horned. Whether two different animals are actually involved remains a matter of dispute. The present argument is that Centrosaurus had a curved horn while Monoclonius had a straight one. Several hundred Centrosaurs found at a single site in Alberta, Canada, are thought to be a migrating herd drowned by floods. Oh no, poor guys.
When a herd of Triceratops were attacked by carnivores, the adults formed a circle around the young with their faces pointing out. Any carnivore would have had second thoughts about charging the 6-ton Triceratops with its sharp horns.
Triceratops. It's one of the most well-known dinosaurs.
Triceratops is believed to be the deadliest of the herbivores. Its huge head supported a single sharp horn at the end of the nose, and two other bony spears nearly 3 feet long. The back of its head was protected by a bony frill, edged with jagged thorns. In turn, the gigantic head was connected to the spine by a special swivel joint that allowed a very quick response. Even the most agile carnivore would have found a surprise attack almost impossible.
Okay, who is this guy? Well, that's a weird looking one. Looks like it has an helmet. Taigi Moroch, whatever. Like, look at this fucking name. Pachycephalosaurus itself, believed to be the most advanced breed of the Pachycephalosaurids, had an extremely dense skull, almost 8 inches thick, ringed by a bony protrusion. The first Pachycephalosaur evolved a prominent horn out of this Montana. And hence its unusual name, a reference to the river that ran through the Greek Hades, or hell of mythology. Males may have butted heads to determine dominance and used their horns to attract females. So they were the ancestors of college students, I guess. Quetzalcoatlus. Quetzalcoatlus. What a freaking name. This particular pterosaur has been identified based on incomplete skeletal remains found in Texas in 1972. It was an extremely large specimen with a wingspan estimated at between 40 to 50 feet. In fact, Quetzalcoatlus have been the largest flying animal ever, because of its resemblance to a Titanopteryx found in Jordan. It is also presumed to have had a long neck and legs. Quetzalcoatlus was found some 250 miles from the shoreline at that time, suggesting that it may not have feasted on fish like other pterosaurs, but have fed on carrion, like the African Leptoptilus. Okay.
The pteranodon evolved from the more primitive, long-tailed pterosaurs. Pteranodons built their nests atop high cliffs overlooking the ocean. From here, they could ride the wind currents while fishing for food. It was an animal much like the modern pelican or albatross.
Pteranodon.
Pteranodon is a large pterosaur that had a wingspan of at least 26 feet. But its body was frail and probably weighed only 30 to 40 pounds on the whole. The wing muscles were fairly weak. It probably built its nest on high cliffs overlooking the ocean. From there, they probably sailed as high as 1,000 or 1,500 feet on thermal air currents. Now it could dive from on high, skimming the waves for food, then soaring back into the sky. If necessary, the pteranodon could probably land on water, and then use its wings to get airborne again. A typical feeding flight might have lasted several days, and carried them 200 or 300 miles from the coast. Like today's seafaring birds, they may have been covered with white feathers, both as a means of disguising their silhouette from the fish below, and as a way of preventing a rise in body temperature while on an extended flight.
Okay.
This is the dinosaur famed for its long neck. Its neck accounted for 26 feet of its 43-foot-long body and was very agile. Thanks to its great neck, Elasmosaurus could catch not only fish and ammonites, but birds and pterosaurs as well.
Elasmosaurus.
The plesiosaurs that emerged in the Triassic period evolved into basic types. One with long necks and another with large heads. The long-necked variety, with their smaller heads, could not eat as much all at once. But of course, they had a longer reach. The large-headed type could catch more in a single bite, but their range was limited. The most advanced of the long-necked plesiosaurs was the Elasmosaurus. With between 72 and 76 vertebrae, it may even have been able to coil its long neck like a snake's. Bones of both birds and pterosaurs have been found in its fossilized abdomen.
That's actually impressive.
Whether they were captured on purpose or only accidentally is not known.
This is the giant lizard of the sea, Mosasaurus. It moved into the world's shallow sea at the end of the Cretaceous period, driving out the plesiosaurs. The four limbs turned fully into fins. Swimming in an undulating motion, Mosasaurus could chase fish and ammonite.
Mosasaurus.
This is a rare fossil specimen of Mosasaurus that shows it in a feeding position. Scientists had long been curious about ammonite fossils, found in the same Cretaceous deposits with Mosasaurus, because the former were pierced by odd holes. Then, in 1960, two American paleontologists measured the intervals between the holes and the distance between teeth on a mosasaur jawbone. Teeth marks show that Mosasaurus bit into the ammonite at least 16 times before finally extracting the food inside. We know that the jaws could open very wide and that the teeth were shaped like little conical lemons.
Okay. I've done 3 areas, there's 2 left. Antarctosaurus. Antarctosaurus was not only the largest titanosaur, but possibly the biggest land animal. Oh, oops, wrong button. Animal of all times. The femur of an Antarctosaurus, reported in 1969, measured 7.5 feet long, comparable to the largest Brachiosaurus or Ultrasaurus. Some researchers calculate that Antarctosaurus may have weighted as much as Ultrasaurus, 250 tons or more. 250 tons, oh boy. That's a big boy. Now I wonder how they survived. Can you imagine the blood pressure, like the amount of blood and all? Insane.
This is a Bellosaurus, a carnivore belonging to the same group as Carnotaurus. This is Sequernosaurus, the only hadrosaur found in the southern hemisphere.
Okay, there's not a lot here.
This is Carnotaurus. Carnotaurus means meat-eating bull, and was so named because of the bull-like horns on its head. Like many other dinosaurs, male Carnotaurus may have clashed head-on while battling for mates.
That's a goofy looking guy. Carnotaurus.
Carnotaurus, discovered in Patagonia, Argentina in 1984, had a unique face among dinosaurs. The skull was flat and vertically elongated. The front of its face was covered with knobby protrusions, and from the top of the head grew bull-like horns. Carnotaurus may have used these horns while butting heads with one another. Notice how some of the facial knobs protected the eyes. The skull structure of many large carnivores, including that of Carnotaurus, indicates that they were fairly well protected. Tyrannosaurus, for example, had a Y-shaped ridge running from its nostrils and up above its eyes. Ceratosaurus had a horn over its snout, and the Allosaur also had projections above its eyes. It now appears that butting heads together may have been fairly common behavior in the dinosaur world.
Sauropods, known as Titanosaurus, were a dominant group in the southern hemisphere during the Cretaceous period. Saltosaurus was one such sauropod. Its back was probably protected by plates against attacks from most meat-eaters. A clumsy carnivore could have been pushed away by the powerful tail.
Yep, that's what he deserves. Apatosaurus.
The many well-known sauropods that thrived in North America disappeared during the Cretaceous period. At the same time, however, another large group of sauropods appeared in the southern hemisphere. Saltosaurus, first reported in 1980, was a dinosaur that developed a type of defensive armor not found among its northern hemisphere counterparts. This armor consisted of both large and small plates. The larger plates, 8 in number, were oval-shaped and approximately 4.5 inches across. These were accompanied by some 30 smaller, irregular-shaped plates, 2 to 2.5 inches wide. The large plates probably had spikes sticking out of them and were surrounded by the smaller plates. Two other South American dinosaurs, Laplatosaurus and Titanosaurus, may have had similar armor plates.
Okay. Was this guy left? Noasaurus. Noasaurus, a nimble dinosaur that can best be compared to a small Deinonychus, nevertheless belongs to its own separate family because of several peculiar characteristics. Its high skull, simple jawbone structure, absence of many spinal protrusion, Noasaurus resembles Abelisaurus, which shares with Deinonychus the huge claw on the second digit of the hind limb, curved nearly 90 degrees in this case. The distinctive claw may be an example of parallel evolution, in which similar anatomical features evolve separately in different dinosaur families. Okay, Africa.
The sail on the back of Spinosaurus was more than 6 feet tall. It served mainly to control body temperature, but may have been deployed as a display of strength, too. Male Spinosaurs may have determined their rank according to the size or color of their sails.
Spinosaurus.
Along with Ouranosaurus, Spinosaurus is one of those dinosaurs best known for its large sail. Tracing the early history of reptiles back to the Permian period, prior to the dinosaur, we find other animals, like Dimetrodon and Edaphosaurus, with these large body sails. Despite their superficial physical resemblance, however, these earlier animals belong to a different family of reptiles and cannot be considered true ancestors of the later dorsal-spined dinosaurs. Still, body parts with identical function and shape appear to develop in living things sharing a similar environment, regardless of type and species. All reptiles with these large dorsal sails probably use them to regulate body temperature, and perhaps to communicate with their same kind. Spinosaurus, previously thought to have been a voracious eater of land animals, is now believed to have fed mainly on fish.
Imagine you're a big boy like that and you only eat fish. It's weird. Majungatolus. Fragmentary fossil found early in the 20th century in Majunga in northwestern Madagascar was stored as an unknown specimen at the Institute of Geology and Minerals in Paris. In 1979, however, it was determined to belong to a pachycephalosaur. This caused a commotion of its own. Because Pachycephalosaurus was long thought to be indigenous to the northern hemisphere, presumably completely separated from the southern hemisphere until the middle of the Cretaceous period. Thus, the possibility remains that continents in the two hemispheres are connected in one way or another until the upper Cretaceous. A stegosaurid tooth found in Madagascar in 1926 also belonged to this Majungatolus. Yeah. Dinosaurs. Those giant saurischians of the northern hemisphere became extinct in the late Jurassic period. The sauropods related to Titanosaurus reached their height at the start of the Cretaceous. Titanosaurus is one of the earliest known dinosaurs of this genus, although there were many widely scattered, smaller varieties. The face was sharply inclined, and small cylindrical teeth are positioned at the tip of the jaws. Titanosaurus may also have had bony plates like Saltasaurus. Oh, okay, that's all. Only 3 dinosaurs here. So yeah, we're done. We've checked every single dinosaurs. So it's time to see the end.
Extinction. Is it the final destiny from which no living thing can escape? Consider the fate of the dinosaurs. Although they once ruled the skies, seas, and lands of the earth, and even though their empire lasted for 160 million years, in the end, they were helpless to alter their destiny. Some 65 million years ago, during the late Cretaceous period, the dinosaurs suddenly disappeared from the face of the earth. Why did the dinosaur die out? What caused the extinction of some 60% of all life forms at that time, including dinosaurs? There are many theories that have been put forth to explain this great mystery. Some say the deaths were caused by the slow drifting of the continents and the resulting changes in the environment.
I think now it's widely accepted that it was a meteorite.
The entire planet experienced an immense series of volcanic eruptions. Vast amounts of ash and harmful gases were thrown into the atmosphere. The clouds of gas and ash encircled the Earth, cutting off sunlight to the surface below, and lowering temperatures worldwide. Plant life was decimated worldwide. The presence of the rare
Just double
element
check, but I'm
iridium and
pretty
this
sure it's that.
blown from the bowels of the planet is thought to be proof of the mass eruptions.
Okay, volcanic eruption is still
But
a
another
theory
argument
too.
says the iridium
Okay.
arrived from outer space. According to this theory, a giant meteorite measuring 6 miles in diameter struck the Earth a terrible blow. But the effect was the same as if many volcanoes had erupted all at once. The explosion hurled enormous quantities of dust and vapor into the upper stratosphere, blocking sunlight and threatening all life on the planet. But there are scientists who think the extinction of the dinosaurs was gradual, that they died out over millions of years rather than in one immense catastrophe. While the continents were all a single landmass, the majority of life evolved within a temperate climate. But the continents gradually drifted apart. By the Cretaceous period, they fell under the spell of the changing seasons, including winter. And many species were unable to adapt to the new cold climate. Which theory is correct? Or did the dinosaurs die from another cause altogether? Or from a combination of many causes? This may be the eternal question to which we will never have an ultimate answer. What we do know, however, is that we humans are here because, for whatever unknown reason or reasons, the dinosaurs did die out. Some species thrive and flourish then, while others seem doomed to extinction. As a once successful life form, the dinosaurs have now vanished from the face of the planet. But in a way, they still live on, only in another form. Now, they live in our minds.
Because they live in museums too. Oh, there's actual credits. Interesting. Thanks, Bob. I don't know how to write this one, actually. Like, there's no quiz. Like, I think it lacks, like, even for educational game, it lacks something. Like, there's no quiz. The music was repetitive. I don't know. Not all dinosaurs were animated or so. Yeah, I don't know to write it. Maybe 6.5 seems reasonable. That will be 6.5. So there won't be any wheel, because next game is a bonus game. Victor Musical Industries. Okay, and you go back to this menu.